Hi everyone, welcome back to Gillian at Mystic Healing Therapist. So I'm just going to start by saying, if you do like my videos, please do like, share and subscribe because it helps other people find them. Okay, so today's video I'm going to talk about the concept of mind control. Now I've got to be careful what I say, so I might be going around what I'm saying in roundabout ways. So I'm going to talk about MK and then ultra. So I'm going to talk about that and how us as a species have been sort of put in this mind trap, really. Now, some of you might know I've got a professional background in psychotherapy and cognitive behavioural therapy. So in terms of mind mapping and the science behind our mind and psychology, I've explored that and I do know where that's coming from. But today's video is going to be more about how this has impacted on us and how our development really of our consciousness. So the last 3 or 4 years, it's coming into many of our attention that life isn't what we thought it was. And it's coming to our attention that the way information has been presented to us has not necessarily been accurate, and it's not necessarily been for our best interest. So this is information on so many different aspects. So a basic tenet, for example, of cognitive behavioural therapy is looking at people's thoughts, i.e. cognitions, and behaviours. Now, if we want to reinforce a new brain pathway, for example, so let's say somebody had got some unhelpful thoughts and I wanted to help them reinforce a new thinking pathway, program the brain, then it would require a lot of repetition. So we have to repeat and repeat and repeat a certain thinking process for it to become habitual. Then with repeated thoughts, that more positive, helpful thinking will become the habitual norm. Now, what I've noticed and what many of us are starting to realise is the consciousness of humanity has been put under a massive MK, and then I'm going to say ultra so it doesn't trigger a word. That has massively been happening to us, not just about the agenda of the last few years, but forever. You know, we look at the way our language is, we look at the way, the TV programs, the language, the TV programs, the songs. There's been these subtle programmings running throughout the threads of all of them, and especially for the English language. I think the English language has been used more than ever. Now, we all know that there are certain, I've got to be careful what I say, but military programs that go along with that sort of idea in terms of training for their personnel, let's just say. And it's not always for the best interests, is it? Now, another thing that ties into this. So it was interesting the other night when I met up with a lot of beautiful spiritual awakened people in Long Eaton, and we were having this discussion that many of us, nearly all of us, were dyslexic, myself included, and that is because we won't be programmed. I believe that if we're dyslexic, we're much harder to program because we can't see the patterns in the language, we can't see the patterns in the spelling because we don't spell things right. So it's hidden there in plain sight, isn't it? Spelling, MK, and then that other word, ultra. So spelling, dyslexia, all of that. If you're dyslexic, even though quite a lot of us have struggled in the programming of the schooling, because we can't be programmed and we've found the school system pretty tough, we refuse. It's because somewhere in our psyche we've not been wanting to be programmed, have we? So as well, language, I don't know, you must have noticed I'm forever saying things wrong. I can't pronounce things right. I forget what words, how to say words properly, and I don't apologize for that anymore, because that is part of who I am. And I believe, again, it's this, I refuse to be spellcast. You know, I used to get concerned that I might not be looking professional because I say a word wrong, but now if you understand what word I'm trying to say and you feel the need to correct me because I've missaid it, then that is more on you, really, and what I would look at, what's your need to feel you've got to correct me even if you understand what I said. So that's just a bit of a personal tangent, but I guess the point I'm making is, you know, many of us on this path have realised we're dyslexic. Many of us have realised that there's been this huge, massive mind control going on through repetition. You know, we saw, you know, like going back to our cognitive behavioural psychotherapy, to reinforce a new brain pathway, we just repeat. Well, we all know what messages were repeatedly put out 3.5 years ago, don't we? We all know those repeated messages, and they've gone into people's consciousness. They've made new brain pathways, and they're now thinking differently as a result of that. And it's not necessarily in a helpful way for humanity. So I just wanted to really link the two in, you know, just have a little bit of a chat around this. Now, a lot of the work I've been doing, and I mentioned this, is that I've actually been undoing some of these spells, some of the MK and then the word ultra. I've been undoing those on an energetic level so that we can reclaim things, you know. Today I've been listening to Christmas songs, and yes, I know that they're programmed to the wrong frequency. They're not programmed to the frequency which is helpful for humanity. But I've reclaimed that. So when I switched on the speaker, I reclaimed that I'm going to hear those songs at the correct frequency. Now, this is where my dyslexia comes in. I can't remember whether it's 440 or 442, which is the correct one, because like I say, I'm dyslexic and I don't remember numbers and things like that, but it's one or the other in terms of frequency, and I make a reference to it in my book Spiritual Development in 5D. But the point I'm making is, I was listening to the Christmas songs, I was reclaiming the frequency of the music, and I was also reclaiming the meaning of the lyrics. So this is how we can undo all of this programming. We can do all of that MK stuff. We don't have to unconsciously go along with it. We can consciously change it up. We can consciously undo the spells and the mind control. It's all with intention. Everything's about intention, and that's, if we intend it to be helpful to us, then it will be. All right, I hope this makes a lot of sense. You can find my books on Amazon. You can find my audiobooks on gillianengland.com. You can find me on Telegram. Sending you all lots of love. Bye for now.